Good evening. I hope all of you are well. So, I hope all of the practices are going well, and yes, yes. Today I thought that since yesterday we didn't have much time to, I don't know, maybe there was a need, maybe there wasn't. If there was some need to discuss around the very subject of Sojong and so on. So therefore, of course, I cut short any of the question and answers. So therefore, probably today we can begin with that. Then we begin with the meditation of Chenrezig. So, therefore, would you have any thoughts on that that you wish to discuss? If you have, then probably now it's a good time. No? I meant Sojong. I mean Chenrezig, of course. Yes, that's also there. No, huh? Okay. Okay. If it's not about Chenrezig, then Sojong you don't want to talk about. No. Fair enough. Yes. Pachigdu. Because Sojong is boring, yes. It's just to do. Yeah.
Dear Jalva Karmapa,
Yes.
I'd like to ask for advice. So how to get from the idea of compassion to genuine and authentic compassion, and how to avoid using the idea of compassion simply as a tool to get enlightened.
Yes, of course. It's just we have probably we haven't much of a choice, but to rely on what we say ideas or concepts or symbols, because that's how we are brought up, you know, without going too far back, you know. Of course, we can say, you know, since tracing back, you know, sort of a historical way by saying, from my former lives, I've had so much habitual tendencies of having to depend on ideas and so on. We simply cut it short by saying how we are brought up. And then at the moment, for the very fact that we are able to communicate like this is obviously because of our upbringing. And so on the very upbringing is none other than the usage of concepts and ideas. And then it has served us very well, of course, you know, to a great extent. But at the same time, it's not to say side effect, you know, not to demonize it, but at the same time, what are we aware of? Are we observant enough in terms of the power or the nature of ideas. And so trying to be a practitioner or calling ourselves practitioner is a way to give ourselves enough time to hopefully recognize, initially, once again, through the usage of ideas, through the usage of concepts. Then, once we are quite comfortable, in terms of not to say mission, but sort of, what we are on, what is our journey. Then, to, I suppose, or you said the real compassion or something, yes? Authentic, yes. So in this case, then probably we may be able to be able to observe the original one, yeah. Well, in this case, the original compassion, let's say, because at the moment, the term you use, idea, is basically borrowed, of course, from others, yeah, starting from our parents, and then slowly from our friends, what the compassion is like, how it should be, in terms of, it's like describing how a certain type of candy tastes like, if you haven't tasted. And so we are borrowing, basically, from others, So that's what we mean by idea or concept. And meaning, once we are onto it, then, of course, with careful planning, in a way, careful meaning that to keep the awareness intact, of course, with formal meditation and so on. Then we try to recognize the original one, yeah, or meaning basically on our own or on my own, and that could be either right away or it might take time, but there is no real need for disappointment in terms of, once again, the idea of if it will take time, because for the fact that we are doing something genuine for the first time, there should be a natural excitement, natural this feeling of looking forward to it, yes, no matter how long it takes, or no matter how hard it will be, So therefore, then this disappointment that, or it might take certain eons and so on, it's not a bother anymore, yeah, because now we are onto something. We are trying to do something original, So then how we will come across it is, it's a complete surprise package. How we will arrive there, Yes, of course, in between, because of our, again, excitement and so on, we might feel that now I got it, But and several times probably. But often those are just more of a bump, because that very feeling that I got it is is due to the excitement, I think. Yeah. Nothing wrong with it, of course, you know. But it becomes quite obvious because the very experience of I got it, it just passes away, you know. I mean, it just goes away quite almost immediately, yes. And then, of course, disappointment comes, you know, and then one again tries to retrace that again and again, you know. And well, the reality is that somehow it ends up being a case where we cannot trace it back. Maybe from time to time, something similar, you know. But then again, basically more disappointment. So therefore, the moment, every now and then, if you feel I got it, it's probably good to be aware in this case that that's just a good thing, you know, a good thing, but not to be too excited about. Because, well, as I said, it'll just go away. Yeah. So instead, to keep the level of excitement, you know, that we are searching for something good finally, but at the same time just keep observing, yeah. Keep watching. That's why we say practice, practice, practice. It doesn't mean just toil, you know, or work hard. Not purely in that sense. And to say others have reached because they have worked so hard. You haven't worked hard enough. So it's not necessarily in that sense. The point is, I think we just have to just keep watching. Yeah. Not in terms of saying hard, you know, yeah. But just keep watching, which is not difficult in a way. It seems hard because, well, maybe we are not used to it. Yeah. And of course, all kinds of doubts will creep in between, such as then we are being too passive, you know, not active enough, not engaging enough. Well, the main thing that we are often criticized of is we are not committed, you know, because obviously the idea of commitment is somehow regulated in such a way in our society that if you are really hard and stubborn and so on, that's a sign of commitment, you know. So those could be the side pressures from now and then, you know, that will arise, but it's something we can wave off. But the point is just to be observant. Yeah. So then I will try to connect that with, for example, the practice of Sojo. Yeah. Because it seems quite, well, in this case, passive. You know, not doing much, no productivity. Yes. And because we want to get something done, because we were brought up that way, that in order to reach something, gain something, we have to work hard. But then, of course, now we could slowly lean towards another extreme, by using that as an excuse now, to say, oh, no, I'm not being passive, I'm just following the practice. And in fact, of course, we could become extremely passive also. Yeah. So there is that risk also. Yes. So, so that's why I meant by disappointment, So we don't want to be disappointed in that way also. Yes. So therefore, again, maintain awareness. Yeah. This is a very different kind of work. This is a different kind of effort altogether. Yeah? It's not all brute strength, physical strength. Yeah? It's like trying to become a good tree, I suppose. Rather than becoming a rock, because we associate strength and effort with the idea of rocks or mountains and so on. But in this case, it's more about becoming a tree. There's a difference between naturally grown tree and planted trees, of course, whereas the naturally grown trees are very tough, under heavy storms and so on. They don't fall because, not because they are rigid, but they are flexible enough. Yes. They are able to bend according to the wind, and so therefore they remain, and they are able to maintain. Something like that. Still a metaphor, of course. So like that, then we can use various metaphors, not to use it as an excuse, of course, to say, I'm on the right track, don't bother me, and then to become lazy, So that's not the point at all, of course. If we are honest with ourselves, then we will know that there is no room for depression because, in this case, the pursuit of compassion, there's no room for depression because we are honest with ourselves. And so, then we are focused, the curiosity is there, the excitement is there, yet at the same time we are flowing, and constantly receiving all the nutritions. When the sun is there, when the rain is there, when the wind is there, we also use it because the tree needs to wiggle. Yes. If there is no wind, then the tree cannot grow. Yeah. With those time-lapse videos of any plant that grows, it needs wind, yes, because when you fast forward its growth, it either wiggles or swirls, and that's how they grow. Yes, it doesn't grow like this, It sort of spirals. So more wind there is, then more of those plants grow. Yes, and it slowly, hopefully becomes a tree. I'm not accurate, of course, but nevertheless, the idea is there. So therefore, then, when the storms are there, we can use it, because maybe the forest is too dense. And so therefore it gives room for that movement, and then it grows, you know. So yes, obviously there's a difference between the idea of compassion and the original or authentic compassion. Yes, there is. But there is no, shame in admitting that right now we will use ideas, because that's all we have. Yeah. But at the same time, we try to avoid all the pitfalls of using ideas. Yeah? Because I don't know, spontaneous enlightenment and this and that, although they are true in a sense, but then now it seems like we are taking the long route, you know, instead of the shortcut. So therefore, are we not being skillful enough? No. In this case, as long as we are being honest to ourselves, then there is no room for disappointment or depression, you know. Because we know what we want, and we know where we are, well, not to say going wrong, but where we are being too anxious and lazy, you know. Then it becomes, I think, easy. Yeah. Yeah? Okay. Then afterwards, yeah.
Dear Karmapa, I need your advice. I already 20 years I want to sleep all the time. Doctors say my body is full healthy.
Oh.
And I don't know what to do.
Okay. But you can sleep. Yeah. So sleeping, you have no problem with sleeping?
No problem.
Okay.
But I can sleep all life. All day, all night.
I would like to see that. That's...
I can show. It's true. It's true.
Have you ever thought of Guinness World Record of... You might win a competition. Yeah. Well, I think it's probably something to be proud of, I suppose.
But I think I don't useful is if I will be sleep all my life.
Why not?
Why not?
Blood circulation, yes, okay. Okay, okay. But are you able to wake up instant, like when it's needed, you know, like a cat? What do you think? Yeah.
Unfortunately, no, I can run, and after that sleep.
Okay.
I try if I have very important deals, I can do it, but after that I want to sleep too.
Okay, fair enough.
And every time is fighting with myself.
Okay. Well, this is a dilemma. that I haven't encountered for a long time. Do you dream?
Yes, beautiful dreams, beautiful.
Okay. Are you in control of your dream?
No, I don't try.
Okay.
Because it's okay, dreams.
Okay.
Good dreams.
Maybe that's an experiment you can do. Yeah.
Control my dream?
Yeah, like an experiment.
And what to do then? Sleep?
It's just, it could be fun, yes, to be able to dream the way you wish to dream. Yeah.
Oh, I know these methods. I read about it.
Yeah. I think that could be a good option, you know, because there's nothing wrong with it, of course. As long as you have the leisure to do, it could be very interesting. Yeah. Often, most don't have that leisure, don't have that opportunity, you know. And if you do, you could use it to your own advantage.
And it is be useful for me to...
Are you single or are you married?
Single?
Oh, then no problem.
Maybe that's why I single, because I sleep too much. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. After, yes, then I think there you don't have questions here on this. Oh, okay. Then after, yeah.
I have two requests. The first request is, I think, in the name of many of here, if you could kindly give the lung of this beautiful Tarapuja.
Yes.
Maybe?
Is it Chenrezig?
No, the White Tara, the book release you did yesterday.
Okay.
Because
okay.
now we are buying the books and would be nice.
Okay, yes.
And the other request is if you could kindly give an advice. I think this is not the first time this question is asked, but I still didn't get it. Sometimes it's just so overwhelming about the suffering in this world. And yeah, it's very difficult, especially in real situations like confronting begging children here in India, or, I mean, all these wars going on. I think we never had so many wars than now. So, and it's very difficult to see the dream-like aspect of death somehow. And I mean, even Chenrezig had a kind of burnout. And so maybe you can give some advice. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Observation, yes. Back to observation, to answer your second question concerning the reality of the dukkha of the world, and then how do we maintain or compose ourselves to maintain compassion. Because maybe there's a sense of helplessness, because can we do something? If we can, are we active enough? Are we too passive? You know, similar to the first question. You know, and so therefore I would like to re-strengthen the answer about maintaining and the practice of compassion, let's say in this case Chenrezig or something like that, or Sojong. And so probably there's no other way, but but to say, yes, we just need to continue, yes. And then, of course, the problem could be that burnout, that sensation or idea could linger. Sorry. So, the hardest thing for us to do is to be a witness, or to watch. Yeah, actually, not in a sadistic way of just torturing ourselves just to watch. Not in that sense, of course, but it's a fine line, to really watch, yeah. Because often what happens, yes, and there is a dispute, argument, and we have experienced that from childhood, of course, of parents or family or friends. Eventually, then all the way till now, we have witnessed many, sufferings or dukkha, yes, and where we are not really directly involved, but indirectly we happen to be either there or something like that. Then, what is our natural reflex? Well, I don't know if it's natural, but somehow the habit is there to sort of shut our eyes, and basically see no evil, hear no evil, sort of thing, and then avoid, But now the side effect of that is that we may be able to avoid in certain cases, or we may be actually be very, very successful in avoiding it, or simply avoid by blocking mentally, yes. And then, of course, if we have our own personal struggles also, then we may also be able to block it, yes, by, in our case, by saying, oh, everything is emptiness, 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 chant some heart sutras and block it, yes. And so then the pressure point reaches a certain, level, then there's an explosion of some kind. And then we are somehow left with no choice but to deal with it in one way or the other. Then, strangely enough, we feel that now we are onto something, maybe, Maybe this is what the practice is all about, that now we are finally engaging, now we are finally doing something. So, yes, it's that kind of unfortunate bump or unfortunate struggle, And so therefore, all the while we kind of forget, we kind of ignore that is there a new way, or not to say new way, but is there a fresh way to deal with it, or in this case more original and natural way? Then that is none other than this observation, practice of observation, which begins from the very first practice, that of taking refuge, then all the way until whatever forms of practice we do, And so all the while, all of those, what is the main theme of them? Well, it's none other than watching actually, meaning non-avoidance, no more blocking. Yeah. And it is probably, yes, the hardest thing to do, because theoretically it seems logical, but in actual situation, yes, it seems challenging, but it only seems challenging because we have built up a lot of habit to block it. So instead of now we are trying to dismantle that blockage, those kind of walls, one by one, one brick by brick. And slowly, we try to watch. Yeah. And that's what I mean. It's hard in some ways, yeah. Because to keep your eyes open or your mind open to that friction, it's a little bit overwhelming, And then, of course, with all the imageries, with all the chaos that's taking place in terms of on a larger scale, of course, it's really, really overwhelming. And so we might feel too overwhelmed, yes. But the reality, I think, is that there is no other way but to really just try to replace the old habit, with in a reverse way, which is to now listen more, watch more. Of course, I kept saying watching, but that is more to do with the metaphorical sense of Genrezik, which the term heavily focuses on the metaphor of our vision, our sight. But there are all kinds of sights, yes. So emotional sights and so on. And so therefore we try to open up. And by opening up more and more, and the hard thing is, in this case, then we feel, now should I engage, should I do something, And that's where you again refrain from really trying to do something also. Yeah. Because maybe there are certain aspects, maybe we might be able to, karmically, that the other has the karmic to receive my action. But probably most others don't have. Yeah. So, therefore, as a beginner, our first step is just to, as we say, in our normal, ordinary terms, which is probably more closer to the heart, which is to say, we try to be there. Yeah, in English. And we even say things such as, at least he or she was there during my struggle, He or she was present. Same thing, Now in this case, someone was watching, Can they do something? No. The best of doctors, the best of law enforcement or whatnot, they really cannot do much. But at least that was there, in colloquial terms. And so I would consider that as watching. or observing, you know. And so yes, it is a struggle at the beginning, but that's how I think bodhisattvas are born, by being there, you know. They can't do much, but emotionally they are present, yeah. And then you can feel it, you know, even if it's from a distance. You can feel that presence, yeah. That somebody was there, or somebody was there to listen, you know. He or she heard me, yes. They cannot do much, but that's it, you know. And so I think it is somewhere in that line, yeah. So we cannot end world hunger or world war or disasters, but we can at least be present, yeah. So I think it's that kind of a fine line, yeah. So, yes.
Can I add? So, thank you very much. It's very helpful. What do you think about? Because then, when I sit too much, I start to do mantras or wishes, and then I feel like kind of relief. It's like, oh, it's too much. Please help. So asking for help. But once one of my teachers said, in this very simple level, the wishes have no power, only when you have realization. Yeah. But nevertheless, it's. I mean, I think it will not damage.
Yes.
But what do you think about?
Yeah, you're right in a sense that it feels like, you know, the battery of the aspirations are low, you know. It seems that way, yes. And I'm not trying to say, therefore we have to do hard, more, you know. But that's just the lack of battery is just at the moment. It's just an appearance. Yeah. That's not the case, actually, I think. All we need to do is probably wishes, aspirations. They are terms like wishes they may be overused, you know. And like I said yesterday, maybe we are by now a little bit tired of it, you know. Whereas habit, probably that's something we are not completely tired of at the moment. Maybe after some time we might become also. So therefore, instead of saying power of wishes, maybe we can say the power of habit. The power of habit is still very, very vibrant. It's full battery, you know. Yeah. And so we can just log what kind of habits we have, you know, which are the strongest habits on a daily basis, and then put that in average, you know. And we will be amazed how alive it is, actually, how real it is, and how powerful it is. So, in that sense, then it might sort of rejuvenate the idea of wishes, you know. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. Teni pa, teni. No, I think it's better if you use mic, yes.
Thank you. So I want to ask, what is your perspective on how to overcome the need for external attention?
Oh, okay. I guess we are used to it, relate to that habit. Yeah. I think our upbringing may not be necessarily entirely focused on external needs, yes? But in the past few decades, it's more extreme, yes? And so therefore external attention is probably forced to make it seem more relevant than ever, yes? But then that, I don't know, from a Buddhist perspective, just like I said, if there's a storm, with one of the previous questions, if there's a storm, we can use that to our advantage, yes, for the tree to grow, yes. So similarly, we seem to be able to actually have the energy or the awareness to be able to use any extreme ideas, yeah. Because then, in this case, yes, the constant advertisement of external attention is there, of course, unavoidable. But then we can use that probably, instead of trying to deny that, because it's almost impossible by now, yeah, because it is the strongest current in this world by now. And so therefore, it's just not logical to fight against that. Yeah. And I'm not saying we must join that also, in this sense, or surrender, But instead, then we once again use our practice of observation to investigate. Because external attention, yes, repeatedly being said, but no one has said what that is, What is external attention, or what is this external element is. And then we may be able to once again get somewhere, because external, or we have terms like we try to scratch the surface of it by saying, oh, this is material, this is non-material, but of course we haven't really gone into the depth. But nevertheless, maybe it's a good scratch, So like that, we can begin to scratch maybe, the surface of what it means to get attention. Yeah. It's somewhere there with the previous question of what I said, being there, it's a little bit related to that, yes. And so therefore we feel from time to time someone was not present enough for me. Someone was not there for me. Someone didn't listen to me, yes. And so then now we begin a very disturbing reverse psychology, Because okay, I'm trying to be honest, and I'm saying out loud that you were not there for me. Yes? But now what that does is that then the other factor begins to feel guilty. And now the other person, if he or she has, not too thick of a skin, then out of panic, then tries to do something now, try to listen, try to be there, But then it's not good enough, because, it's made up. Yes, it basically came out of guilt. Yes. So it becomes a vicious circle or cycle, Then one says out loud again, by turn trying to be honest, because honesty is good, By saying no, but I want you to be you, Oh my goodness, then the other person has the worst headache because now they don't know even how to walk, Normally, right comes after left when you walk. Now is it left? Do I skip, So then everybody is stuck, Yeah. So, in this case, what I'm trying to say is that once again, it's good to be observant of that's how things can get stuck. Yeah. And it's not saying now I should be quiet, I was about to say shut up, but quiet seems more eloquent. Of course, that's also not the way. Yes. So therefore, in order to free ourselves from the dilemma, what do? We do sojong. And we just watch, Yeah. We watch others. We don't know how to watch others, just like how we don't know what is external attention, And so, what or who do we really watch? Me, myself, And then that's someone we know a little bit more. Yes? And then we just watch. Again, without saying, I got it, like I said with the Chenrezig, I got it. Now I know what to do with myself. Not to fall into that trap. Do not fall into that trap, Instead, just keep watching. Keep watching. And I think that's what it means means by what they say, seeing the truth, Because, yes, there is the surface of the truth, and we think we got it, but that's just the surface. And so it has all kinds of surface, or dimension, one could say. But dimension becomes too heavy a word. I like to use video games as a reference. 2D games rather than saying two-dimensional games, And then slowly 3D games, And so, according to each of the D or dimension, then we are able to discover more and more, And then, without having to really, as we say, okay, now that I saw my truth, I must pull myself up or raise myself up. Instead of that, the more you discover the more curious we become. And to a point where one could say it's like a distraction, because we suddenly get very involved in it, in this discovery. But the more we discover, even though it may be a distraction from worries and problems, but it's not a distraction, not really a distraction. It's like for alcoholics or drug addicts, when they are able to do something very grounded, earthly, then we as society say, good, that now that somebody has something real to do, yes. So in this case, this discovery is something like that, I think. Yeah. Because sure, we may have experienced a lack of attention from parents or siblings or from children or friends, spouses and so on. But that could become a pattern where it is as good as an addiction. Yeah? So therefore now in this case it's somewhere close to breaking through, without having to enter a rehabilitation center. Now we are onto something, discovery about myself, how strange I am, how unpredictable I am, how this and how that, many things, And then is there a final layer? No, there isn't actually. Yeah. That's what I meant yesterday, fresh, Because now by the next sunrise, we are a completely different person. Yeah. For the fact, on a solid level, in terms of what we ate, what we drank, what we breathed, what we interacted with, So by the next sunrise, we may look the same, but we are not the same, And so therefore, every sunrise is a new page. And there is so much to discover. Similar? Yes. Very similar to a point where it's identical. And that's why we are able to recognize and say, it's still me, or it's still you. But now that we are onto something, not really. Because how I looked when I was 5 years old and how I look now, completely different. Yes? Or even from 10 years ago or 5 years ago, now I look very different. So, yes. It feels like a distraction, but it's not really a distraction, I think. It's more of finally being focused on something that is worthwhile to be engaged in. So in this case, watching, So now in this case, if you think that way, it's actually very active, far more active than we say somebody did something, somebody helped somebody, I don't know, breathe or gave a CPR and saved that person, and someone pulled away from, I don't know, poverty, Not that those are not important, but for that, it has its own drawbacks, Let's say if I'm a paramedic or something like that, now if there's no one to save anymore, then I'm kind of useless, Then it begins to gnaw at me, meaning bite at me, that should I be feeling that there should be someone to save, you know? Obviously we don't want that, of course. But without it, then I'm obsolete, you know, I'm useless. Whereas the self-discovery is something that we will never feel useless, because every day is different, you know. Every day I have to cope with my new me, you know. And then, now from that ground, we can now look outwardly, as we are meant to, let's say. We are born with, as I said yesterday, 2 eyeballs, 2 ears, and so on, yes? All this, it's as if it's designed for that. Then now we can slowly open them up and look and listen, and it won't be too much of an alien thing, because now I have seen myself enough, I know myself, and now when I look at others, I see just me, you know. It's just not as aware as myself. And so therefore you can relate. Then when somebody tries to pay attention, even though they are not good at it, you can appreciate, you know. And those who don't seem to pay attention, you can also appreciate equally, because you know that they're like children and they just don't know, you know. They are taking a long route for their own self-discovery, and so eventually they will, you know. But at the moment it's like as if they are handicapped, and then you can appreciate that too, you know. Something like that. Yeah. Okay. Then there, pa me. The model the chibota the pamata the yanchik tengyusre. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Could you please explain the shot player to Vajradhara?
Sorry?
Could you please explain shot player to Vajradhara?
Explain the prayer of Vajradhara.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. How do I say this? Well, I think there are a number of ways, I think, to describe it. Of course, we, for our ears, of course, or for our emotion, it's always beneficial to have everything nice, yeah. To have everything pleasant, you know. Because we could begin with something more direct, you know, but then it's not probably soothing. So that's why then we have terms like Vajradhara, yes, or the practice of it, and so on. You're talking about the Dojin Chantongma, yes, yeah, I thought so. Yes. So yes, like for example, I could shout right now, you know, with full anger, you know, and say things, you know, and let's say whatever is supposed to be the truth, but it's not pleasant. Yes. Instead, if I talk in this boring way, it's sort of, at least it's not unpleasant. Yes. So yeah, it's something like that, I think. Particularly in the case of Dojin Chantoma, it's probably more about well, I suppose teacher, yeah. And I think during the first question I said something about, now I don't remember the words, but yes, so something about former lives, former lives, then it becomes too much of a repetition, as if it feels like as if there's a glitch, in computer terms or mechanical terms. Then we need to, for our sake, for our sanity, we feel that we need a full stop. Yes. And probably that's how the idea of a creator comes into being, because we feel enough, it's like if you put two mirrors against each other, in perfect angle, there is no end in terms of the reflection. Yes. And so therefore, even for our eyes is too much, for our brain is also too much, and so therefore we feel the need that we need a full stop. Yes. And so probably that's how the idea of Dorjen Chang in this case came into being, to put a full stop. Because obviously the teacher of the teacher again can be traced back all the way endlessly, and then we don't have enough pages to write all their names, and to write down their biography and so on, and their stories. Yes. And so therefore we just stop it there. And then how do we stop it? Well, let's paint something blue that looks like us, which kind of resembles the sky, So it's metaphorically, imagery-wise, good enough, A blue figure with white eyes, Yeah. Because I've seen, I'm sure you have noticed, you have all kinds of paintings of Vajradhara, and it's very difficult to really look, yes, unless the background is bright, yes. Otherwise, if you draw a Dorje Chang on the back, where the background is a blue sky, all you can see is two pair of eyes, So, yes, it's a symbol at the end of the day, yeah, nothing more. Yeah. But symbol portrayed in a way that is not too blunt, I'm not saying the idea of a creator is blunt, I'm not trying to criticize that, yes. None of us should. We can appreciate that, How do we appreciate it? By talking about things like Vajradhara in this case. Yeah. It's a very gentle way. Yeah. We know why we put a full stop, So in this case, awareness is there, yes. But we know that it's just for our preference, you know. Whereas actually we can remove the Dorjen Chang and it'll just go on and on and on, yeah, endlessly. Because teacher after teacher, teacher after teacher, you know. So it's for our sake that we put it that way. Like all father, you know. Father of all fathers or something like that, you know. So it's practical, yes. But if we don't realize those facts, then in fact we might be able to think or view the Vajradhara as a creator, you know. Then of course we know what kind of problems that comes the moment we settle in that way, yes. So it's a way to, probably the method of, or the idea of Dorjen Chang is, first of all, to explain the succession of teachers. Then teacher means there wouldn't be a teacher without a student, of course. Then of course it comes to me, you know, myself as a student, you know. So then it's a way to bridge, one could say, you know, myself with my teacher or something, you know, basically the two components, yeah. They're reflected in succession, yes, but otherwise it's about those two components. And yeah, so when you have the skill, you know, skillful way, or upaya in Sanskrit, then it makes more sense, you know. Without being too superstitious, or without being too, I don't know what the word pragmatic means, but I think maybe I can use that, even though I don't know what it means. But yes, it might make sense, you know. So then basically I can feel that I can relate, you know. Yes, so at the moment I will stop there because I don't know what else to say. Yeah. ทีนี้อันนี้จะรู้จีเยอะเลย Okay.
Еще Норбу, Ташидалек. Your Holiness, can you give me your refuge and your protection, please?
Okay. Okay. I will pray for you. That's it, yes? That's it, yeah? Yes, okay.
Right now?
Yeah. Okay. 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 Oh, oh. Okay, yes, yes, come. No worries, give it to me, I'll do it for you. You're right there, yes. I only have a phone. Okay. 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 Thank you. No, then there was one there afterwards.
Dear Karmapa, please, how you understand when we practice Guru Yoga,
Yes.
yeah, and we open up to the Lama,
Yes.
what does it mean when student ask for blessing in this practice?
Okay. Well, the student is asking for something, that's there. But we don't quite know what the blessing is. Yes. Maybe the student is asking for scolding, I don't know. Or a reply. Yeah. Like this one, Yeah, like you hit, and then reply. Yes. Or like walking, if there's no floor, we cannot walk. Yeah. So, for the fact that we can talk about walking, or to start it from the beginning, sitting, sit. If there is no floor, there is no need to talk about sitting, walking, and let alone running, jumping, and so on. So, for example, for a fish, to sit, walk means nothing. So, yeah, it's what gives. I don't know, maybe. I mean, it's an English way of saying, why do I do this, or something like that. If there is no reciprocation or something. Yeah. So maybe it's asking for blessing is more about checking, testing. Am I alive? Or as we say, pinch ourselves or something. So probably it's far from the idea of why we say blessing, 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 some supernatural thing. But I think what is really supernatural is that for the fact that we can walk, we can stand. Because actually the floor is far more than supernatural. Yes. Because it's not one solid, flat surface. We can see it that way, yes. But we can ask, I don't know, physicist or the common term we all have, scientist, And is it really flat? And obviously they will say no. And they will be able to prove it to us in various ways. Actually, how much of a gap there is in between, well, what seems like solid, In between, it's like a net, like a fishing net, as I was saying yesterday. So we could very well just fall through, actually, right now. So it's amazing that actually we are still sitting, and then walk, yes. So of course, if that's the case, then why not on the water? Of course, the netting is a bit different, yes. And so therefore, obviously we will sink, yes. So actually, it is far more than supernatural already, for the fact that we can sit, yeah. And so the blessing is already at work. So, now to some of us, then maybe we need a different language to explain all that, from time to time. And so therefore we say things like, we use terms like blessing in terms of like a signal, satellite dish and satellites and so on. Yes, a little bit closer, I suppose, to the idea of, or the conceptual ideas we have about blessing. Yes, like sun ray, radiation, and so on. Yeah. Just to talk about the solid floor. It's just that the karma has worked, karma has worked in such a way that at the moment our body's mass is such that we will not slip through this floor, But if our mass is different, slightly different even, we could very well slip through, Yeah. And so therefore, now I don't want to go too far, but let's say if we are, I don't know, a Pardo being, Pardo? Ghost. Of course there are no ghosts, but the still physical form that still a physical form that we get even after this physical form has deteriorated, which we call the Pardo state, Their state is such that it is as good as air, and so one can slip through, One can. That's why they say walk through wall or something, because it's not solid enough, and so therefore it feels just like water or air, One can just slip through, and so therefore it's quite a bit of an experience to overcome initially, just like ourselves. When we are first born, it's very, very overwhelming for us because suddenly our body is too solid, It has a much denser mass, and so therefore naturally we cry, yes, because it's we're not used to it, immediately. And then we can bump and bang our toes and whatnot, yes. And so, yes, the thing is, it is already at work, one could say, It just, we're not aware of it, Well, it meaning the blessing, We use the term blessing, but it's not necessarily blessing also, It's more of saying the karma at work, or it's already working. And so we just use various terms to get there, to meaning to get to that understanding, to get to that point, by using different imageries, ideas, and thoughts. And so now the teacher-student idea in this case is drawn, I think, mainly from the human condition, first and foremost, and that is based on, the human, human condition, and then particularly the attribute of it is that then the parent-children relation, yeah, and so if you put on a different pair of glasses, then the parent-children relation is similar to teacher-student, and it's and that relation is sort of like a reflection to each other. It's a way to confirm, I'm here, you are there, Because if you're not there, how can I even talk about me? Just like how, if there's no floor, how can we talk about walking or something like that, And so that idea is coming from there, but otherwise it means nothing at all. Teacher, student, parent, children, They are complete strangers to each other. Yeah. It's just we use a number of reasons to say, I'm your children, or I'm your parent, or I'm your student, I'm your teacher, A lot of proofs, documentation, reasoning to prove, Of course, DNA or whatnot, But beside that, we are not the same, at all. So maybe a part of the idea of blessing is this very intricate and intricate way of convincing, Well, it's not a good analogy, but it's like saying, the sugar for diabetics, the sweetener, It's not sugar, right? But it has that feeling as if it is sugar. Then we feel yes, But of course, it's not a good analogy, as I said. But something like that. Yes, now you're my father, you're my mother, I'm your children, and so on, We basically give a lot of excuse and use a lot of preference to legitimize that, we are such, I'm your student, I'm your teacher, and so on. And it's amazing that we can prove it, and then we can agree, and really feel that that's where I belong, But actually we are completely different. It's not even that we are different. I'm not here, you're not there, So how can we even talk about a relationship, But it's amazing how well we can prove, that we have some form of relation, yes? And if that's not blessing, then I don't know what is, in some ways. It's basically some sort of trickery, like a magic, And but the interesting thing about it is that instead of purely tricking each other, we can do something good together, We can do something meaningful together, maybe, you know. Then maybe it's good. Then in this case, finally it's a blessing, maybe, you know. That at the moment I have enough of a mass, you know, form to be able to walk on this floor. Yes? And through this relation I can do lots of things that are beneficial, you know. I know that at some point either the floor will give away, or my form will also give away, you know. I have to accept that, yes. And then when that happens again, I have to see what else to do, you know. Maybe by then I become a fish, you know. Then I have to completely change my style, you know. But till then, we make the most out of this particular condition, yes. Something like that. Right. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So then maybe you will be the second last question today. Then we will have one more, and then we meditate on Jenrizik. Okay.
What to do if one lost joy of meditation practice and the joy of working for others?
What if there's no joy? Yes. What is the?
What to do if one lost joy?
Yes. Yes.
Meditation practice,
Yes.
do not enjoy it anymore,
Yeah.
and the joy of working for others.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Well, joy is something, yes. We really don't know what joy is, actually. I don't know, maybe seeing someone else slip on the very same banana skin that I have walked on, you know, that I have slipped on. Maybe it's joy. I don't know. It's you know. It's really difficult to say. Yeah. It just cannot be. The thing is, it just cannot be reproduced, yeah, manufactured. That's the thing. If it's manufactured, then yes, it can go away, yeah, very soon. Yeah. But the real joy is, it's just like saying, you know, karma is already working. In the same way, the joy is already working, actually. It's already at work, you know. And so therefore, you know, since it's already at work, it doesn't need to be reproduced again, you know. And so therefore it's really difficult to talk about. Yeah. The way we practice, of course, the way we use our method, it feels like it's a way to capture or fish, you know. for this thing called joy. But this we have to know that it's kind of manufactured in a way, yeah, already from the beginning, if possible. Well, actually, in fact, it's a must, yeah, that we have to know that it's manufactured. How good it is, how wonderful it is, how energizing it is, everything, you know. So it's like from the first question, it's just an idea. Yeah. Whereas the real one, the original one, the authentic one, is something that doesn't. Well, it sounds strange to say things like it doesn't begin, it doesn't end. You know, it's too strange. But it just cannot be captured. That's the thing. Yeah. Would you like to sit? Because I feel a bit pressure. Yes, at least you're not slipping through. Yes, okay. That's a good sign. Yes, so right now I think what we think of joy is more on a sensory level, you know, on the surface, something more to do with pleasure, and then that naturally brings pain into being, you know, pain, pleasure. You know. And then if you go a little bit closer, maybe it's still similar, but maybe on an emotional level, maybe, you know. Are they wrong? No, not wrong, you know. Pain, pleasure, emotional benefit, connection and so on, they are all very essential, yes. But it's not, but it's only temporary. Temporary doesn't mean that, it's very ordinary, it's not superior, it's not spiritual, not in that sense. It's just that our idea of right now joy is only belonging to the human realm. Like I said, by tomorrow, if you are reborn as fish, then it's a completely different world, and so altogether the idea of joy is different, you know. Suddenly, the heart surface floor, which we feel very, very comfortable and safe with, is not a safe one anymore, you know. Instead, we would like to have something that is constantly flowing, you know, and nothing solid. We won't like anything solid. Because it's a completely different environment, different experience. And so therefore the idea of joy would be completely different. Similarly, if you are born a bird, or in this case even a god, you know, it's completely different. And that's, from that sense, it's temporary, yes. So that's why Buddhists are not trying to demonize sensory pleasures or something like that. You know, it's just saying it's temporary because once you switch, a different reality again is different, you know. And so therefore, it's like saying a completely different currency, you know, it just won't work, you know. Currency, yes, it is, but it won't work in another setting. So therefore, the real joy, or the authentic joy, or the original joy is something that is universal, let's say. No matter the different settings or environments, you know. So, yes, it's not purely dependent on sensation. And so therefore, I have no other way to talk about it other than, again, observation of the mind, watching of the mind, There, we just cannot say watching, for example, if you can see this room clearly, is there joy? It's difficult to put it that way, because there is no sensation in a way, Or if you can breathe, Now, of course, you can compare to by saying being not able to breathe easily, then compared to that, maybe right now is better, but only in that sense, So joy is just like what we also earlier talked about, like Vajradhara, Dorjin Chang, same. It's just a nice name, but it's not related to fun. Well, it is fun, but it is not pleasure, It's not, it is far from sensations, or sensory things. And it's also nothing really too far. I mean, it's not completely emotion as well. It's just more like lack of despair, I suppose. That there is no room for any disappointment, but not in the sense that I'm not going to talk to you anymore, in order to be free from disappointment or something like that. Not in that sense, But in short, it's about it's coming from the idea of seeing, first of all, the truth, and then the whole truth, and not nothing but the truth, sort of thing. Basically, a very wholesome truth. Yes. Basically, full awareness. Then maybe we can use a flowery word, poetic word, like joy, Because now you're not disappointed at all. Because then now you are able to see everyone like children, If you with children, there is no real disappointment. Of course, you may get tired. There is no disappointment. Yes. With fellow adults, you can have a disappointment. Yes. But with children, you cannot have disappointment. Yes. Because you can understand them. You know why they hurt themselves, why they make things difficult, because they don't know, And so therefore, there is no disappointment at all, Yet at the same time, you know that even though as they grow up into adults, they will make mistakes, but at the end, one way or the other, eventually they will, first of all, they have the possibility of understanding, and eventually they will understand one way or the other, of course, making a lot of mistakes, but they will, And so therefore, no disappointment, And so now there is no sense of real hurry, And so you can parent them, be among them, and yes, difficult days ahead, but nevertheless there's no disappointment, because at some point they will do, well, not to say the right thing, but they will know what is what, just as one does right now, And so now that's a kind of enthusiasm that you get without having to be manufactured, you know. And you are born with it, yes. And so the only idea of manufacturing comes into being because if I wasn't aware, I, practice a bit, meditate a bit, put some hard time to realize it. So in that sense, it feels like manufacturing, but it's not. It's just I was trying to get rid of some of my habits, that's all. Yes. Then now this doesn't deplete or finish or end or lose battery, And the more we discard old habits or strong habits, then the more we feel like I'm progressing. Actually, we're not progressing. It's just we are losing the habits, And so, but visually or emotionally, it feels like I'm progressing, but it's not really progress. It's just if you remove the stains, then the object is more clear. So it gets clearer and clearer. Yes. So it's not fabricated at all, not manufactured. Then this kind of joy, then it's wonderful because it feels like as if can this experience get any better or something? Sometimes there may be even fears that maybe I shouldn't be too happy, because maybe all this might come to an end. In this case, we don't have to be afraid, because it's well, it's a fact. Yes, it's a fact, and that's why the Bodhisattvas use terms like children, literally, literally the term children on fellow sentient beings. Yeah, it's not to. It's not to make themselves less disappointed or something, but it's a fact, We're all just nothing but overgrown children or babies. Yes. And so therefore, hey you, But actually there is no real hey you, because if hey you, then you, because we're just, our body became too big, yeah. If our head grew equally, I think we will still be able to accept that we are all children, But unfortunately, it doesn't. Yeah. Our head grows to a certain degree, but then the rest of the growth goes into our limbs, and our torsos, and therefore it looks, then more disappointment, But babies, their head is very big, yes, compared to their body. Therefore it's cute, You can never take them seriously. But as they grow, the head size stays more or less the same, but the body keeps growing, If then more disappointment, yes. Yeah, most of the imageries we have are still nice because I think they understood that psychology. That's why statues like this Buddha and the imageries that we have in the Tanka, the proportion of head is quite interesting. It's not according to reality, you know. The head is still quite big, yeah, yes. And I did say this before with cartoons. Why cartoons are cute? Because again, the head is big, yes, and that's why it's cute. Then no disappointment, you know. Yeah. Joy. Okay. Last question. Yes.
Yeshino, thank you very much for being with us. You speak again and again about uncertainty, no control, the shaky ground.
Yeah.
And I take it as pointers to Shunyata. And for me, in this regard, it's how to approach making decisions.
Yes.
For one's life, where one lives, how one lives, all from the big to the small.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably in this case, we are the only ones who can compose history. Yes, we are the only beings. Gods don't have history. Animals don't have history. And I think that's being said enough, you know. We are the only ones who can make or who can write history, compose history. In this regard, in the case of your question, I think all we need to do is just read history, you know, all the history, you know, and probably the answer is there, yeah. Because the whole point of writing history is with the hope that that now we are doing something to make it better, you know. Basically, it's talking about a succession of decisions, you know, amazing decisions, yes. And then, after reading many books of history, then I think what should really impress us is, but somehow it doesn't seem to, which is the funny part, is that the obvious aspect is that none of those decisions made us happy, you know. Yeah. Great conquerors, great philosophers, great, I don't know, this, that, you know, and none of them gave us the ultimate answer how to live happily ever after, you know. And it's constant disappointment, disappointment, disappointment. And as we speak, we are writing history also, and we are repeating the same thing, although we know where it will end up. Yes, we know it through and through, actually. Yes, without a single doubt, actually, that none of our decisions will really matter at the end. Yeah. So that's there, yeah. But of course, we cannot make it that black and white, of course. Not to say, oh, history is still good, not in that sense, you know. But it's more in line with the reality, let's say, is that if that was the case, then none of the Bodhisattvas also should have written anything also, you know. Or forget that, why, you know, going back, why do we even write history, you know? Because what we know now in terms of how meaningless it is to have history books, back then, how many thousands of years ago, they would have known the same thing, you know. At least someone would have thought, hey, wait a minute, why, you know. So therefore, it seems that the only reason why we still continue to write history is because maybe there's a sense of acceptance, yeah, that nothing good will come up, you know. But it's interesting, you know, to write. Yeah. It's interesting to write because, I don't know, maybe it's fun. Yeah. It's sort of like saying, trying again, you know. Yeah. And so, in this sense, in our case, why we do anything, eventually we know that it's futile, you know. But it's interesting, yeah. This very building will at some point become simply ruins, you know. Everything that we see here will become dusts, of course, yeah. But it was fun to build, it's fun to maintain, and even the thought of how it will become ruins is also, it has its own beauty as well, you know, as long as there's that acceptance, you know. So maybe in that sense, yeah, we don't have to demonize, you know, making decisions, not at all, you know. We are already making it, we are pretty good at it, making decisions. Not that it's a good decision, but we are good at it, you know. And so we just go through, you know. But the acceptance has to be there, you know. And if that acceptance is there, probably it's okay, yeah. Any work, any hobby, any adventure, or hobby probably is a good term, meaning how I understand that in order to really achieve something, we need genuine interest. Yes, we need to basically, in simple terms, we need to like it. Yes. So similarly, we need to like it, you know. But even though we like it, I mean, or to put it in another way, for the fact that we like it, it means that we don't. For the fact that we like it, it means that we have accepted. Yeah. That's a better way to put it. For the fact that we enjoy it, it means that we have accepted, you know, that it will turn into ruins one day. Yeah. That we have accepted. I like being a human being means that I have accepted that I will become a fish, you know. So then we can have a wonderful time of being a human being. Yeah? Otherwise, the thought of becoming a fish will terrify us, you know. Yeah. Because now I have to talk about some dirty stuff, you know, dirty talk, which is that in human condition, then we don't, we feel that we have a proper system of what's that called? Septic tank, you know, and sewage systems, and agriculture, and so on. Yes, and we think it's the vegetables we eat are clean, organic, dirty in that way. Yes. And so therefore it's horrendous to think how it will be to become a fish, you know, because you are the same thing, you know. There is no septic tank. There is no particular sewage system, yes. And so it could be horrifying, you know. Whereas in our case, we can make believe that there is a proper system, you know, and we are used to that, yes. But over there, it's completely different, yeah, the way it works. So, yes, decisions. As long as we know, we are aware, we are watching, or we are watchful. Well, not watchful, but as long as we can see it, yeah. As long as we can, as long as our eyes are open, or our mind is open, our heart is open, then yes, we can have a marvelous time making decisions, you know, because that's what humans do, yes. And it's reflected through history, yes. And we know it's futile, we know it's gonna it's going to turn into ruins, you know. But how to say? It's nice to think. For breakfast, I'll have this. For lunch, that. For tea, this. You know, yeah, and make lots of decisions. Yeah.